Ladies, what is the message of this? Number one, don't trust a man. Number two, don't trust any rich guy and or rich women. This case should be showing you something that you should kind of think about this. If you remember growing up, all these men were making jokes about becoming a photographer, so they can go take some like bikini shots of women, that thing, and then a tank of them are a bunch of rapists. Here's another field where they were making jokes of, and did it come across on the Cosby case because he played a gynecologist on TV? Is that what it was? I don't remember, but there was a bunch of different things like this where they any field where they're making jokes of, trust, there's a rapist in it because they're all thinking it and they think it's funny. Just like, bend over, for the soap in prison where all those things are happening and they wanted it to happen. So this is another doctor, and I just pulled up the other one because the other one they're making major headlines by paying for ads to try to find victims for the cedar cyanide one. This is a different one, same kind of bull. And I had been talking about this problem for a while, and it was still kind of sketchy because I'm like, I didn't find out the truth until a female doctor was sitting with me and talking to me. And she's like, yeah, I mean, the entire field is misogynist. I don't know. She said something like that. And that everything is geared towards finding out STDs and things on women. Like there was nothing for men. She's like, isn't it weird? They don't have anything for that. And I was like, I never even thought of it. And I didn't even know that. Like I just, unless you have a son or, son, you're talking about that. I thought they would have. I don't know. It was kind of weird. So she said that. And then they told me, I told them, I go, yeah, I kept going every year. And they stopped me and they're like, why were you doing that? I go, because they told me to. And they were looking at me all puzzled. And I'm sitting there thinking about it. And I'm like, something wrong? Yeah. And it was found out like that. And I was like, is it me? Is it the doctors? Is it her? Is she a newer doctor? Maybe she doesn't know how it was going on. You go through this thing. And then we're going through the women's history. And it started to kind of come together. And I go, oh, the American Plan stuff, right? So I pulled that up. Oh, like when it came down, I was like, I got sexually abused by doctors. But in a weird way, it's like by a bunch of different ones, these men. And for the most part, I try to get females to do that job, but there were some times where you had to go in and pay for a place, and then it's whoever you get. The whole thing about it. You should be at 115 pounds. Yeah, right after they go up your what. I was like, I felt so disgusted after that day there, where it was just like, this cannot, like, you're trying to put your finger on, like, what is totally wrong with this? It's just disgusting. So, over excessive gynecological tests. I filed complaints over this where they were demanding tests like every time I walked in. Then they said now recently they're like, oh, maybe every 3 years. And I'm sitting here thinking, in my youth, they were sitting there going up my thing every year. No, they were sexually abusing. These guys are disgusting. That's through the medical field. I go, see, that's the thing. And there are female perpetrators also in this. And for us, it's a false sense of safety because they're no different than these men. However, I've only caught one female in this entire thing so far. Could I have overlooked some other women? Sure, because they're the ones telling me to come back, right? Maybe we're just not putting that together. And it's very important to know this. Because why are they telling me to come every year? The females were. I'm like, we're just disregarding this thing. You're not safe with anyone. That's just the truth of it. That's not an over, because I got touched a million times. It's like, because I got touched a million times, you're all predators. So, Derrick Todd, a former rheumatologist, is accused of conducting unnecessary pelvic, breast, and rectal exam. Okay, I never had a rectal exam. I'll tell you that. Um, I haven't had that. I don't know what the hell. I know men get that. Um, Let me know, ladies, because that one hasn't been done. I'm not even gonna let anybody go up in me anymore. This whole thing is ridiculous. We have so much technology. I don't know why the hell this is even going on. Exams for the purpose of sexually assaulting patients. Derrick Todd, the Massachusetts doctor, who is accused of sexually assaulting more than 200 patients in a class action lawsuit, has been indicted on 2 counts of rape. The former rheumatologist, who is accused of conducting unnecessary pelvic, breast, and rectal exams for the purpose of sexually assaulting patients, was indicted by a Middlesex County grand jury. Middlesex District Attorney Marion Ryan and Framingham Chief of Police Lester Baker confirmed in a press release on Thursday, January 16th. I mean, you're literally putting a perverted man in a job to see naked women. Should we not just think that they're all going to be a bunch of preds? I mean, really, at a point, it's like they can't even conduct themselves right in real life on everyday conduct, on their everyday conduct. You're going to go put them in a room with, yeah. The indictment, the press release states, are for 2 counts of rape, alleging the sexual assault of 2 women who were his patients at the time of the assault. Although the alleged assaults Todd has been accused of span more than a decade, these 2 allegedly occurred in December 22 to 23. During his arraignment, Friday 17th, Todd pled not guilty. And then they said that the former rheumatologist, who was held on 10K bail, was ordered to surrender his passport and all medical licenses and not to apply new ones. And okay. And he was ordered to not have any contact with the victims or practice medicine. Other investigations into Todd's conduct are ongoing, and the criminal case against Todd is likely to continue growing. And the law firm represents more than 180 Todd's accusers. It's just the beginning of the criminal case against Todd, but it does help validate the civil claims that Lubin and Meyer are pursuing on behalf of so many of his former patients. Fundamentally, it's about a doctor abusing his position and taking advantage of patients who put their trust in him for his own personal sexual gratification. They're saying that he's innocent. Todd alleged abuse dates back to 2010, and his accusers range from teenagers to women in their 60s. Yuck. The initial lawsuit filed Todd in 2020. You know what? I would question my parents. I don't know how young the teenagers are, but you're sending me. I see again. You can't even. Where's the safe thing in this? There's no safe thing in this. I mean, I'm just thinking back to even like the initial thing, like you're talking the American Plan and gyno test. It's like the whole conduct is just rape. And they come up with this kind of crap. And then, I think it's all based off that anyway. It was disgusting. The lady goes like this, you guys. Okay, so this was a female. I go in. I had never had a mammogram. Okay, and I was well over the time, I guess. And I had a regular female doctor, and never once did they send me out to one. And I don't know what age they start that at, but I was allegedly due at a certain point, and they never did. Okay. So then I went to Riverside, and then that predator doctor and all them were doing all this crap, right? And I reported that. They said that I need to go get a mammogram in the middle of me going in there for my arm. Okay. It was a random, I wasn't there for a regular practitioner. I just had to go in there to get my arm fixed. And it turned into, we want to do an STD test on you and go down your pants and touch your breast. And I'm like, holy shit, no. But then they were saying, you're well overdue for a mammo. And I'm like, what the hell? So I went anyway, though. They sent this thing out. And when I went in there, you guys, the lady that was doing the mammogram thing there said, oh yeah, you should have had it a couple years back. And I'm like, huh? And then she goes like this. She's like, maybe they probably didn't think of it because you look so young. And I'm like, no, my doctor knows how old I am. My regular doctor knew how old I was. But saying by my visual I look really young to not even like mention it. And I was like, I don't know. It was not a good comment either. Because she's saying that I look like this young girl, so why would I get it done? And I'm like, they're screwing up my medical because they're visually checking me out and think I'm a young girl. See? And then they find something, right, on that day. And I literally about flipped out. I was like, if I have cancer, I'm going to sue somebody. Because she said that. And she said it was supposed to be done years back. And it had no doing of me to not go. It's the doctors that didn't send me to go get it checked. And so when they said they found something, I'm like thinking a million things that I should call like a fucking lawyer. And then it's freaking me out. And then I had a bad experience. I was saying that. And then it was a really, really trying time right there. And it ended up turning out to be nothing. And then they're like, come back in 6 months so we can recheck it. It's like, you literally just pulled a thing out from a shit, said it was nothing. What more do you want from me? I mean, if you're worried about that shit, take it out. You know what I mean? It's like, what, they're getting money from this or something. If that little thing, whatever they were thinking, something, they're like calcium, whatever the hell. They check it. It's not cancerous. But they're saying we need to keep rechecking. I'm like, well, why don't you just remove it? We could be done with this. I don't know, but it's just a whole thing about this. I mean, I don't know if they could do that. I mean, they said they could remove it because if it was, could remove it. So I'm just like, I don't know, but what the hell? But yeah, it's been a nightmare. It's not me, it's them. And no, I didn't go in after 6 months. They wanted me to go in, I don't know, like a couple months ago or something, a while back. They want me to do all kinds of things. And I'm sitting here going, I'm a chump because I keep doing what they're saying and they're just making money. And at the end of the day, it turns out to be nothing. The hell? Telling someone they could have cancer is a huge thing. And then just be like, you're totally fine. I mean, what the hell is that? That's mentally effed up. So, anyways, you get all their statements all of their statements are rather incriminating regarding Dr. Todd's conduct. They have all repeated and alleged the same inappropriate conduct and excessive examinations. Yes. Our clinic, the one I've been going to, has been demanding a little bit too much there. So I reported that. Now they shut them off from they have different locations, okay? The one that I was going to actually found a good doctor there. Like, surprisingly, I was about to get rid of them. And they threw me to this one guy, and I didn't even want a guy. And then he turned out to be actually a really good doctor. And he was really cool. And then he moved out of the area. And then they gave me some female who just didn't give a shit. And then I was like, I want to change doctors again because the place isn't the same. It's just not the same. It was bad before that. And then it's back to its shittiness, right? So I was like, yeah. And then I tried to go to another location. And I went into the office and they just left me in the waiting room. And then I finally left. I was there for well over an hour and I was supposed to be taken in an hour prior. And then they were calling new people in that came in an hour after me. And so I tried to file a complaint on that. They just brush it off like it's nothing. So then recently they're like, you can't go back to the doctor's place where you were going to. And I'm like, why? They're like, oh, they're removed out of the thing or something. I don't know why. I don't know if something bad happened there. Maybe there's too many complaints. Maybe, I don't know. I can't answer why that happens. And then they said you could go to this other one that's farther away. That one was actually fine. Kind of. I'm like, kind of. I mean, I didn't even spend that much time in there. So then they sent me back. Well, now I don't have, I mean, it's kind of in limbo. It's weird. So I don't have a regular doctor right now anyway, because they rid of them. Yeah, it's a cluster F. This is LA County's bullshit, and this whole thing is terrible. And I don't like changing doctors like that because you want to kind of have the same doctor that knows all your stuff, right? And then they're working on, going through stuff. And yeah, it's a nightmare because then you can get these total assholes. Like I got those two guys that were like, none of those things ever happened to you. You should go see a mental health person. Yeah, like what the hell is that? I had like all these ER things and they were disregarding it, saying that never happened and that I'm crazy or something like that. And so those two doctors should be fired and sued and everything else. But, they weren't part of the insurance thing. So they were separated part of that donation clinic. And do not go there. I'm telling you, it was them. It was the lady that was working there that was telling me all that information about the misogyny. And so the lady had to work inside that place. I would hate to see what she has to say about those two assholes. She may have been kind of thinking about that too, being there with those guys. Because holy shit, how are they even allowed to have a license? Yeah, so they ordered me an unnecessary exam by that lady. It's not the lady's fault. They ordered me an unnecessary exam by that lady and force tested me for AIDS, which I didn't have, and I knew I didn't have, or any STD, and I didn't have. And I just didn't want to do it. And they're like, like they're talking into me like I'm lying to them, like I was doing all these like crazy sexual shit or something. And I was like, I telling you no, but all this, and they check it's totally clean, right? And I'm just like, what is this shit? Like they think they're like convincing me like I'm lying to them, like I'm totally like out here, having sex with the entire planet, and I'm not getting tested. I have STDs and all this shit, and that I'm lying to them, right? And they're like, you should do, like this. They were doing that to me. And I was like, what the hell is this? I know myself more than anybody else. If I had some shit, I would get that shit fixed. Okay. I was like, because if I could. So I wouldn't be running around with some shit, be like, don't test me. I like scratching my ass off. Something like that, you guys. That's disgusting. But they were trying to coerce me and talking to me like I'm lying to them. It's hard to explain to you guys, but it was like they're talking to me like that, like I'm not telling them the truth and that I should do it right now. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I do, again, I'm saying it's a frivolous test because I already know it's fine. And then, but they got me into doing an unnecessary gyno. Not even an exam, you guys. They came in and cut some shit out. And I go, I cannot believe this kind of garbage. And they're like, it's totally fine. I go, wait, I just went through this hell for no F reason. I'm not even doing anything at that moment, okay? So I'm just saying, just in reality. And they're going on like this. I was like, if I have anything, Jesus raped me in my sleep, man, because ain't nobody over here right now. I was like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, it was this thing, and I'm like, how would this even happen? We think? I was like, no, you don't think shit, because I already know how I am. And they were trying to paint this in a different light and try to make up that I possibly had something. I go, that is insane. Okay, so mind you, they do this whole horrible procedure, right? And it comes out totally fine, right? Totally fine. It didn't end there, you guys. It didn't end there. The next thing you know, I had to go and do the exam again the following year. Again, they kept telling me go every year. Okay, so tailing off, right? You think at this point it would be over. No. The following year, they sent me to another place, and the lady on the phone tried to say that I had something. And I asked the doctor, I go, wait a minute, this lady's saying this. They're like, that's not true. Who told you that? I go, the lady on the phone. And they're like, did you get a name? I'm like, fuck no, it's the stupid lady on the phone told me I had this. And that's exactly what it is. Like, she got all rude and everything, and I'm freaking out because no doctor said anything like that. And I tell the doctor, and they're like, no, that's not true. Try to get a name next time. Son. I go, well, there's only those two stupid girls on the phone. And I was like, they're just telling people on the phone they have shit. I don't know where they got it. Like, it was freaking me out. I go, what is this clusterfuck of stuff? It's a hot mess, you guys. Nobody even wants to talk about this stuff because it's personal. But I'm telling you, there was nothing going on, and they're sitting there coming up with stuff, and I go, well, I'm being knocked out. I mean, I don't know what's going on there. I was like, honestly, I go, in fact, I shouldn't even need to come in here. The reason why I'm coming in, though, is not for STDs or anything like that. I'm coming in for the fear of getting cancer. Like, really, it was in that framing the entire time. But they start in with stuff that's impossible at this point. It's just, yeah, it was under the guise that we're checking you for cervical cancer. Not STDs and that you got all this other shit. It's like, I know I don't have that other shit. What the hell is that? So, I mean, how many years we're talking about, even if it was even a possibility, I was talking about some stuff because I got raped like by over 24 men when I was, a kid. And there was some later stuff here, but even then, no. And, but if that were to occur, then we know exactly the perpetrator that did that. And then we'd have to talk about it. That's happened a lot, though, from rapists and their victims. But, no, so we're like long past that, honey. I think that if I got something from 1991, this would have been caught in the every year that I've gone in, you're looking at those things. But no, I was like, if you didn't die in the 90s, I was like, if you didn't die in the 90s, I mean, it would have been nearly impossible you'd be going on. There was a lot of things to that. So I was just like, there's a scheme here, man. I'm thinking, I don't know if in my brain I was thinking more of money scams than I am thinking sexual assault behavior, predator behavior. In the early portions, because it's just like, why? And it might just be because you just don't think about it in a much larger scale, about other people being predators. And they're very calculated. So, like, the doctors, like, they want their money, they want their McMansions, they want all those things. And in order to keep operating to be a manipulative piece of shit, they would have to present it like, this is what we have to do. And so for me, the victim, it doesn't come across necessarily right away as an obvious, I'm being sexually abused. Does that make sense to you guys? I'm thinking about it out loud, and I'm thinking about why it wasn't such a right away trigger. Like, you don't know right away. It's just the manipulation of the actions. Like, they're presenting, this is what we need to do to you. This is our procedures, and this is how it goes. However, when I went to go read what the procedures are online, That didn't happen. And I was like, oh my God. And how are we supposed to know this? How are we supposed you have to do the research. But how no teens are going to be going online doing research like how does this go on? We didn't have online back then. So how are you supposed to know that the procedure when you go in, allegedly another doctor's supposed to be there or something. So there's supposed to be two doctors or something. And you're supposed to be in your gown before you go into there, before they would even do an exam like that. Back in the day, the doctors used to chronically, and I remember this, so this is what this female doctor did, which was so weird because I haven't had him do this in about a million years. They used to push down on your stomach. And I guess, I don't know what they're checking for there. I guess maybe a tumor. I have no, in your pelvic area. Okay, so when I was younger, they used to do this. Now, I don't know if they were supposed to do this to me, but I don't even remember the time frame of that. I just have this like past memory that in my early childhood, either when I was a kid or as I was a kid into young adult, they used to do this thing and push down on your stomach, and it was like nothing. But no one's done that to me in a million years, okay? The female doctor that I came in to get my arm checked had me lay back and started up that and then started going down my pants, like that thing. And I go, oh my God, that did not, I feel like I'm getting raped by some guy, you know, in my situations that I had happen. And I go, in no way, shape, or form did I okay this at all. I'm not here for that. I didn't allow it, and I'm not in a gown. I'm not in anything. So no doctor should be doing anything to where they're trying to go down your pants. So, or any of that. Because I wasn't even in there for that. That's the other thing about it. So even if it was an okay procedure that these people do, I didn't go in there for that. It was crazy. I was like, oh my God. And I go into my other doctors all the time. Never once have they done that. Never once have they done that. The things that they always do right away, you walk in, they do a blood pressure test, they have you stand on the scale, and then they take your temperature, and that's it. Then they ask you questions. Why are you here? Okay, so then they tell the doctor why you're here. The doctor comes in and specifically directs only to that. Unless there's some additional thing they want to ask some questions about. But it goes like that. No, at this place, I came in, I said, I cannot lift my arm. I have a problem with my arm. And the hot minute they put me in a room alone with this woman, and she'd be going on like that. And then they go, you need to go do an STD test now. I'm like, no. Oh, shit, no. Okay, watch this. Meyer also claimed that because Todd was a rheumatologist, a doctor I know, I was like reading rheumatologist and I'm thinking, well, it's not gynecologist. A doctor who specializes in conditions affecting the joints, muscles, and bones. His exam should not have involved breast examinations and should not involve vaginal examinations. The hell shit? See, I told you I came in for my arm, which is joint and muscle and bone thing, right? And the next thing you know, they're trying to go down my pants and asking about STDs. And it was a woman. I just want to stress it was a damn fucking woman, you guys. And she's a general practitioner, I believe. You know, the last time I read a story like this, I think it had to do with athletes. Athletes going in, their personal coaches and athletes, and going into those doctors, and then they sexually abuse them. That was a little while. Was that the big case? That might have been the big case. I don't remember. There was tons of cases like that. You can't trust these guys. I don't trust the women. I don't trust the men. After that woman's thing, I'm like, I don't trust none of them. I don't want anybody touching me. None of them. Like, none of them. Just the conduct is so, and the reason why this conduct is going on so long is just, like I said, we keep reporting it. They keep calling us liars. They keep saying this is what we need to do. We're going to just let it go. And all these men are manipulative evil, and they're promoted to be manipulators. The men are. That's been through history. And they're sitting here laughing at gyno exams and that they want to be a doctor to do that. And I'm like, yeah, they really did, right? They really did. So the jokes, there's truth to the jokes. I wouldn't let no oh no. If I went in there, and see, I didn't let this doctor do it. So I already knew. I go, I'm here for one purpose and one purpose only. And then no doctor can talk you into doing something you don't want to do. That's another thing. So I got a forced drug test on one other female who wanted to start shit with me. So we don't trust the females either. So that was at another clinic. And they forced drug tested me because she was convinced that I was trying to get my normal medication, which was prescribed to me by a professional that I believe was getting stolen by this lady. And I wasn't asking for quote unquote more. I was asking if I feel like I need to up the dose, should I get a new prescription? I was kind of asking, like, should I change the thing? More or less that. But I was saying this lady, though, where I'm living at is stealing my medication. I don't need more, though, because I had enough. But she was stealing the other bottles. And I was saying that she was trying to go doctor shopping. And she was going to come to her to try to get her to prescribe her the same stuff that I have. That was the premises of this meeting. And I was told to go there through a human trafficking organization because of the nature of the case, okay? Now, they did that because they are mandatory reporters. They're supposed to be. Did she report that? I'm guaranteed you right now she did not. And so she's supposed to report the conduct of that lady right there. But also, instead, they turned it around that I'm crazy and I'm wanting drugs, which I didn't, and that they need to drug test me. And I'm like, holy shit, ooh, we got into it right here really bad. I go, what the hell is your problem? You know, this whole thing. I go, no, why? Why? And then so finally, I do it because she's so convinced. And I already know I don't have anything in my system. I'm clean as a whistle. So I go pee in this thing so they could do a really quick drug test. Nothing. She comes back, doesn't even apologize, nothing, and is sitting there just like, well, you know, this thing. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm never going in there again. Yeah, this was so crazy. I was like, what is this shit? Terrible. Terrible, you guys. But you can't even report it because when I report it, they just cover it up. Cover it up like, oh, you know, it's okay. Nobody's going to lose their job over this, okay, lady? Yeah, so what happens? They keep working, right? Yeah. So they keep working. They keep re-abusing people. They have not done a goddamn thing. They're overly protected. And I said they're more protected than cops. It's insane. And you can't get them to even lose a job. So what do you expect? They're going to keep raping everybody. And then you get hundreds of victims like this. And if you've been working decades, you're getting probably thousands of victims. I mean, I'm just my brain. I'm trying to wrap my mind around how they even let this guy who just deals with bones and joints and muscles sit there and go up people's butts. I'm just like, what is that? I wouldn't let it happen. Like me, because I'm so on it now, you know what I mean? It's just that. But if I was a kid and in my early 20s, I might have been like, well, the doctor's saying he has to do it. And it might have happened. But I don't know. I can't imagine me letting a doctor do that. I think I would be really weirded out. Just because I was raped so many times as a kid that it's just like, I don't want people just randomly touching my body like that. Unless it's for a specific purpose. But I could see how it could happen if the doctor's presenting it like, I need to do this to check this. But I wouldn't know why. Why would he need to check my arm and go up my butt? You know what I mean? Like, that is just not happening. Man, they used to do that thing. I don't think I got it like that. I was trying to remember if I ever had this happen to me, but I remember they used to stick thermometers up their kids' butts. And I was like, I hope to God nobody's even going on like this still today. I don't know, but maybe they are. There's been a lot of procedures that were being done when I was a kid that should never be done today. No. I was like, no. I don't know. I guess, I mean, maybe they do it to infants still. I have no idea. But they were doing it to more older kids. And I was kind of like, is there a reason why you can't do that normally? Yes, there were some parents doing that too. I don't know. Can somebody explain this to me? My parents didn't do that. I would tell my parents. Okay, this makes sense. Okay, the rectal butt thermometer. It makes sense in like an infant, right? Birth to 3 months. Use a regular digital thermometer to take a rectal temperature. Okay, it makes sense because a kid, their tongue, everything. Okay, understandable. That makes sense. 3 to 4 years old. Okay, that's kind of iffy because some little kids can start around that time. Okay, but 4 years and older, it even says here, by age 4, most kids can hold a digital thermometer under the tongue for a short time it takes to get an oral temperature reading. You can also use a digital thermometer to take an armpit temperature or a temporal artery thermometer or digital ear thermometer. So why would kids over 4 years old be getting a thermometer up the butt? That's what I was saying. That actually happened in the 80s, and I don't know if it's just, it could be ignorance. It could be maybe I don't know what the hell. I don't even know if I don't remember if the doctors were doing it too or what the hell, but I remember parents doing it. Maybe it's just ignorance that they thought, because they kept doing it since age 3, that's just how they do it. I have no idea, but it's disgusting. They were doing it to older kids. Trust that. And I was like, what the hell? Yeah, so if I go in and they're all, let's take your temperature up the butt, and I'm an adult person, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to report you. Okay. So that's so weird that I just remembered this right now in the middle of this whole thing because nobody be touching my butt like in my damn doctor's office. That would be an unnecessary procedure if you're under 4. I know if you're over 4. If you're over 4. All men are under 4. So it would be an unnecessary procedure if you're over 4 years old and a doctor or any adult sticks a thermometer up your butt. Unless you have some medical issue and you can't do the tongue thing or or you're impaired, something that would cause it to be an impossibility to do like a normal person. Okay, so that was definitely going on. I was trying to think of any other crazy stuff that they were doing besides the torture thing that they did to me with the wire through my ear. Oh, that thing. Shoot. I don't know. I have to end it. There's nothing more in this story. There's going to be more doctors that are going to get busted. I guarantee it because all these women are finally going, yeah, man, this doctor, like I'm telling you, it's a slow process because you have to think about it because you put trust into them. And they're like, yeah, they told us that's what we had to do. Again, it was through talking to another doctor. They were looking at me like, who told you that? And then they said that. And I was like, all of them? Yeah, but how scary is that? All of them?